Hi, so welcome back to the third video in our How to Groom Your Lappy series. We have here today Fleur. Fleur is a 4-year-old neutered female lappy. So she's fairly representative of what your adult lappy is probably going to look like. Yeah, that's right, good girl. And the kind of coat that you're going to end up with. Lappy girls, once they have been neutered, notoriously end up with quite big coats. Okay, so there's a bit here to look after. Fleur's going to get the works today, the complete spa treatment of a bath, blow dry, and groom. So we're going to go from start to woe here today. I'm not going to bore you by taking you down and having you watch Fleur actually being bathed. So I thought before we did that, I would actually talk through with you just the equipment that you will need or that I recommend and the process that I go through. Okay. I've mentioned before that with grooming lappies, you can lay down if you want. With bathing Finnish Lapphunds, really less is more. All right, don't bath your Finnish Lapphund too often. The more you bath, the more you will need to bath. Okay, so fight the urge and let that double coat, that natural insulation, do its job, and don't bath too often. Okay, the more you bath, the more you will strip that natural texture out and you will strip the natural oils out, which will then result in them getting dirty more easily, smelly more easily, which results in you needing to bath more often. Okay, so really show some self-restraint and don't bath too often. I would say that probably the two most important times to bath are the two times when they're actually changing coat. The bath and the blow dry and that whole process will help lift that old coat out and actually make doing your line combing and your maintenance grooming a little bit easier. But other than that, certainly no more than every 2 months. But hey, if you can hold off for every 6 months, good for you, I say. Okay. And because you're not bathing very often, the other thing that I would say is treat yourself and go to one of those car wash places or pet shops that have the hydro bath and the proper blow dryers and all of the equipment there for you to use. Okay. One, it will save your back. All right, it will be much easier than trying to bend over your bathtub to bath. It will be much easier than trying to dry with your personal hairdryer, any of those things. So spend a little bit of money because you're not doing it very often and go down to one of those places and use their professional bath and their big blow dryers. In terms of shampoo, you hear me continually talking about Chris Christensen and Plush Puppy. Again, they are the shampoos that I use as well. But any, dog shampoo will be fine. Don't ever use human shampoo. They generally contain far too many harsh chemicals for dog skin. The other thing that your lappy doesn't need is conditioning. So you just need a good quality dog shampoo. I like to use ones that are specifically for coarse coats, or they might say for terrier coats, but really it's whatever you want to use. If you want to use a really nice organic one or whatever, okay, just as long as it's a dog shampoo. And as I said, there's actually no need to condition your lappy's coat either. In terms of equipment, so here we have a professional dryer here. I have a hydro bath as well, but we're talking here like several, a few $1,000s worth of equipment, which is why I say go down and use the ones in a car wash. Brushing spray, again, which I may or may not use after a bath. I don't necessarily always use it because there's generally a little bit of moisture in the coat, but just in case. Trusty pin brush, my slicker, and my comb. Alright, that's all we're going to be using today once we get back up here after the bath. But we'll just take a break. When we come back, Fleur will be nice and wet and ready for her blow dry. So here we are back with a nice wet, hopefully clean Flirty. In terms of drying, I can certainly understand if you don't have the time or the inclination to dry completely, to dry all the way through. It's a process that can take 45 plus minutes, okay? That's to get them completely dry all over, all the way to the skin. If you don't have the time or the inclination, I still suggest that you get some of the water out, and particularly around the chest and around the neck here. Okay. I'm not going to make this video run for the full time that it takes to dry off a lappy, but I will do a bit here just to get started so you can sort of see. I like to use my pin brush. I'm really lucky I have this, move over Gertz, this drying arm here, which acts as a third arm for me and will hold the dryer. So I've got a hand to hold her and a hand to brush. I like to get my pin brush, and as I'm drying, I'm actually, I'll get you to turn around, Fleur. Good girl, good girl, excellent. Brushing back up, that gets that nice, gets already, there's some coat coming out there. It will help lift the coat as we're drying. It will get that nice lappy fullness happening to it, and it also helps with letting the dryer get all the way down to the skin. All right, so we'll make a start. All right, I'll just pause it there while we keep going. All right, so we now have a clean and a dry fleur. You saw a couple of times there, I just pressed record again, just so you could see sort of the process as we were going along. Right at the end, I actually had taken the I had actually taken the dryer out of the arm just so I could concentrate and really focus on those areas that were still a little bit damp. But she is now pretty much dry all the way through. So our next step is to actually give her a really good brush. I am going to use the comb a bit, but this is not a video on line combing. I'll do a separate one later on to show you how to do a really good line comb. Oh, you're happy to know you're not being line combed today, are you, Flirt? Good girl. So this is just now that we've bathed, blow dried. You probably saw all the hair that was blowing around. Little secret, it will get all over your face. Turn the dryer. Put the dryer on your face every so often and blow the hair off your face. Because we've had a bath and a blow dry, a lot of that loose coat has already been lifted, so I'm not going to do a line comb. We will just finish off with basically the slicker and the pin brush mainly, to finish getting any hair out and really just finish her, still coming out here, to finish her off and make her look even more beautiful than you are, Flirt. Yeah, good girl. All right, so I like to teach my dogs, once they get a bit older, to actually lay down to be groomed. So I just gently, that was probably a little bit rough actually, Fleur. Normally way more gentle than that. Just pull their legs out, take their weight in your arms and just gently lay them down. And then it becomes nice and relaxing. Make sure you give their belly a bit of a rub while they're down here. Okay. And for no particular reason, but I always like to start at the back and move forward. Okay, just taking my pin brush. I'm not going to bother with any brushing spray. I don't think. I might use a bit right at the end, but there is, no matter how much you dry and for how long you dry for, there will remain just this little tiny bit of residual moisture in the coat, and that's enough to be not dragging the brush through and pulling out any coat that you don't want. So I'm just going to start, I'm sort of gathering it up in my hand, pulling it back. Here you go, let's just turn that way to the camera a bit. So I'm just pulling it back out of the way and then using my pin brush to lay it back the correct way. Yeah, sorry, that was a bit uncomfortable, wasn't it? There you go. Put your head down. Good girl. So just pulling it back out of the way. She's got a really big skirt these days. Just working that coat back down, making sure that and the reason we use the pin brushes is because they're really good at getting all the way from down at the skin, the root, to the end. The last thing we want to be doing is just a superficial brush on that top coat and not getting down this and not getting down to the skin, because that's where matting happens. And she's got a fair bit coming out here, so we want to be making sure that we are getting that coat out. Alright. As I said, just use your hands to pull the coat back out of the way. And this is the same technique we will use when I start showing you how to line comb. Got a bit coming out, Flirt. I'm just doing her chest, her tummy at the moment. So the same, I'm just holding it back, that foot, holding it back with this hand and using the brush in the other hand to pull it back down. This is not hard work because the bath and then the blow dry have gotten a lot of it out, or even if it hasn't gotten it out, it certainly loosens and lifts it so that your pin brush can just then finish the job. good thing about this too is that it means that we get to see right down to the skin, which is always a really good way of checking any extra health issues. I mean, obviously it means you can be checking for fleas, for ticks, for grass seeds. This breed really does love grass seeds. And even just, I'm looking here and I can see that Fleur has this beautiful pale pink skin, which shows that she's nice and healthy. Bright red skin can be an indication of an allergy or something like that. So, just taking the time to give your dog a good groom isn't just about the coat itself and making sure that that doesn't get matted. It is also a time where you're physically getting your hands on your dog. You're able to see those other things like grass seeds, ticks, and as I said, just even seeing the health of the skin itself. All right, I'm just going to move you down a little bit, Flurry, so we can just face your mane. So here we are now up into this big mane area. And obviously if you've got a boy, that can be, really quite dense. But even on neutered girls, even on neutered girls, it can be quite thick. So really is an area that we need to make sure that we spend a bit of time on. So again, just pulling that coat up out of the way and then brushing it back down in the right direction. Gently lift the leg up out of the way, making sure that you're getting that armpit area in behind the elbows. It's an area that can, it's tough to get dry, so you'll probably find that it's still quite damp in under there, but it's also an area, just because it's, an area that rubs a little bit, it's an area that can mat quite easily. Means I can get the chest a bit. Just making sure down the back as well, so lifting that leg gently, making sure you're getting in under that leg. Jeez, Flurry. Hair everywhere, girl. Alright, a couple of other spots that I just want to focus on before I sort of pause and do the other side. One is this area and I'm actually going to bring the camera in a bit closer. So hopefully you can see it. It's this area, we've got the ear here, and it's this area directly behind the ear. You will notice that the coat is significantly softer than anywhere else. Right? That fineness, that softness, means that it is prone to knotting, to matting, very easily. And even Flirt here doesn't have any mats, but I can still sort of feel that I haven't brushed it, I haven't gotten in there the way I have with everywhere else. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my comb, and I'm really going to use the comb for this bit, so I can get down to that skin, get that finer hair a bit. That will get some of it. Okay, that's sort of made sure, that means that I've brushed that area out. But I'm still going to have some, and it's kind of a bit, I can see by the colour of it and the wispiness of it that it's dead. It really should be coming out. But there's nothing on the market that I've been able to find that will get that out. So what I do is hand pluck. So just grabbing the tips, and you can see that it's coming out. And because it's loose, so I'm not hurting her. You can see she's not reacting at all, like it's really not hurting her. And it's just the best way for getting that fine. And if you just make sure you're only grabbing the tip of the hair, like it's a nice sort of gentle, very quick. If you make sure, so if you just make sure that you're only grabbing the very tips of the hair, it's going to come out easily, you're not going to hurt, you're not going to pull out anything that shouldn't be coming out. And it's just this hair that, as I said, sits sort of over the bottom part of the back of the ear and directly behind the ear. And you'll notice, you'll feel the difference in the coat type. You'll know which hair it is. All right, we'll come back to that in a little while, Fleur. The other area I just want to focus on, and I'll just straighten my camera back up so we can do it properly. The other area is this big, beautiful, fluffy tail here. Okay. I like to, first of all, hold it up out of the way. I like to start at the base of it, so I'm here right directly above her bottom, and brush it back the wrong way. So holding that hair up, using my hands to hold the hair up, and then the brush just to slowly pull it back down, and I work in a circular motion around the tail, just pulling it out of my hand. Good girl, lay down. Again, making sure that I'm getting right at the skin, at that tail, and all the way out. Why are you sitting up? Good girl. Lay back down. Okay. And then that tip. Now we have one lovely, big, bushy, fluffy tail. Alright, I'm just going to pause again and do her other side, and then I will come back to you so we can finish off. So the last area to really groom using our sort of backwards way is the chest here. So the same, just holding it up out of the way, slowly bringing it down. It's hard doing it, not actually being right in front of her. Beautiful. Excellent. So we now have a fully brushed bath, blow dried and brushed through. So we're just going to finish off now. I like to get my slicker at this point just to do a nice backwards brush, fluff those legs up a little bit. Stand up, my girl. Good girl. I'm going to do the same with the back ones, getting those hocks with that feathering, fluffing that feathering right up, fluffing those legs right up. Going to get my pin brush now and give a nice once over, still hair coming out, once over, backwards. Good girl, yeah. A good shake helps fluff it up and get some of that coat out. Get that tail up. Beautiful, yeah. You're pretty happy with yourself, aren't you, Flit? And here we go. Here we have, tail up, my girl. One beautiful, fully bathed, good girl, Finnish Lapphund. Yeah, you look beautiful. Yeah, good girl. Thank you.